Thank you, Lori. Hello, everybody. So as Lori mentioned, today we're going to go over kind of Reality Cloud Studio. I'll go through a little bit of the basics of Reality Cloud Studio first, and then we'll get into a demo and take a look at Reality Cloud Studio and everything that's involved with Reality Cloud Studio there. So to start off, a quick introduction about me. I've been in the AEC industry for about 20 years, certified as an Autodesk instructor and a Civil 3D professional. I'm also certified as an Unreal instructor. I'm part of the reality capture team at RAND, and so we specialize kind of in the reality capture technology, right? Working with Leica with their scanners, so their terrestrial-based scanners, as well as all the software that goes along with that. One of the great things about our team is that we are all certified Autodesk instructors, so we know a lot of the workflow right from the beginning, from scanning all the way through into Revit or Civil 3D or AutoCAD, and then know kind of the back end with those workflows. Okay, so with that said, we're going to take a look, like I said, at Reality Cloud Studio, starting right at the beginning. So how are we going to get our data from the field into the cloud? Right, we can get all kinds of different data here into Reality Cloud Studio. If we're working with Field 360, which is the iPad app that we can use to run the RTC and run the BLK, any of the BLK scanners, we can directly upload from Field 360 into Reality Cloud Studio. You know, obviously you're going to need an internet connection for that to work. So either tether it to your phone, or if you've got an iPad with cellular connection, you can use that data, and you can directly upload from the iPad. Okay, so I can do that by bundle. I can do that by individual scan, and I can send that, like I said, directly up there to Reality Cloud Studio. Okay, I can also bring things into my desktop environment through Register 360 and then as an LGS. So if I create that LGSX file, I can then take that into Reality Cloud Studio as well. Okay. 3D models. If I want to add in my Revit model, my NWD, which is my Navisworks files, my IFC files, okay, I can have those stored up in Reality Cloud Studio and also combine them with some of my point cloud models. I can store 3D meshes. OBJs and GLB files can all be stored up in Reality Cloud Studio. And again, I can just upload those into Reality Cloud Studio. Okay. The deliverables then are a few things. I can use Reality Cloud Studio for collaboration and virtual site visits, right? But instead of having that locally based, it's cloud-based. So anybody that I give the web address to, or I can add into Reality Cloud Studio as a user, can go in and view my point clouds and then collaborate online with them in that online environment. Okay, I can also now stream all of my model or all of my point clouds into the different drafting software with CloudWorks. Okay, so they've added the ability to stream directly from Reality Cloud Studio into CloudWorks and into Revit or AutoCAD or Navisworks, again, directly kind of through that CloudWorks connection. Okay. Or into 3DR. Okay, I can stream to 3DR as well. So that means I can bring it into 3DR, and I can use all of 3DR's great tools for analysis, extraction, reporting directly from my point cloud that's stored up in Reality Cloud Studio. So really what Reality Cloud Studio allows me to do then is to keep one point cloud centrally located in the cloud and have all kinds of different people connect to it and use it as they need to, whether that's analysis, modeling, or collaboration. Okay. I can also process with third-party data sources. So I can bring in LAS files. I can bring in E57 files. Okay, and those will both work within Reality Cloud Studio as well, and I'll show you that in a little bit. That supports Trimble, Faro, NavBiz. As long as we can get those LAS files or the E57 files, then we can bring them in and use any of the tools in Reality Cloud Studio. Okay. Which will take us then kind of into kind of the security and compliance. So again, there's no installation of products, right? It's zero implementation. Everything's cloud-based. I don't have to go in and download to view. I don't need to go in and download Reality Cloud Studio to get it to work. I just open up my web browser and then use the web browser to get into Reality Cloud Studio. Okay, again, really handy for that. No hardware to buy, no consultants to pay, no upgrades to manage. Right? It's all web-based, so a lot of that back-end stuff doesn't need to be done anymore. Okay, we've got industry-leading security from trusted companies. The data locations, there's 4 different data locations that we can connect to. EU has their data location, the USA has their own, Canada has their own, and the UAE has their own as well. Okay. Automated backup and disaster recovery is built in. We've got single sign-on, okay, and all these other great data security protocols that are being followed as well. Okay. So one of the questions we always get asked is how the pricing model works. Okay. Leica have priced this a little bit differently than what they would price some of their other tools. Okay. And it's easiest to think of this as a usage model more than a storage model. Okay. In Reality Cloud Studio, the data is actually stored for free. Okay, so it's sold per terabyte. Okay, so when you buy a subscription to Reality Cloud Studio, you'll see you can get 1, 3, 10, 5 terabytes of data. Okay, that data is then consumed on a usage base. Okay, so it's not a matter of I have a 10 gigabyte file and they're going to charge me to store that in the cloud. It's how it's used. Okay, so these are the 3 options that will consume that data. Uploading. So when I upload data to the cloud, it will chip away at my data allocation. So let's just say, for argument's sake, I've got 10 gigabytes or 10 terabytes worth of data. Okay, if I upload a project that is a gigabyte, it's going to chip away a gigabyte from my 10 terabyte allocation. So import processing, format optimization for streaming and processing, those will chip into my allocation. Any processing that I'm doing. Okay, so in the cloud, I have the ability to auto register. Okay, so if I don't want to, I don't have to register down on my devices anymore. I can ship that up to the cloud and let Reality Cloud Studio do my registration for me. Okay. If I use that process, then that will chip away at my allocation as well. Okay, auto meshing. I can create meshes up in Reality Cloud Studio. Classification and format conversion. Okay, any of those processes, again, will chip away at that data. The last one is downloading. Okay, so downloading original files uploaded to the system, okay, and added files like geotags. So downloading point cloud data, downloading mesh data, those will also chip into that original allocation. Okay. You'll notice that streaming is not up there. So we aren't being charged to stream data to CloudWorks. It's only uploading, processing, and downloading. Okay. So the free things, like I said, unlimited streaming. So you can visualize data in web browsers. I can stream to CADWorks, plugins. I can stream to 3DR. None of that is going to use up that data. I have unlimited users that I can add. So I can add unlimited users for collaboration. Okay, and again, I will show you when we get into the demo about how that can be done securely with user rights and assigning different users different roles. Okay, I can also keep unlimited projects. So they aren't going to limit the number of projects I have up there. It's all based on how much I upload and download. Okay, I've also got my free ongoing storage. So again, consuming gigabytes for internal upload, but you don't have to worry about storage costs. So one of the examples that Like always uses is that maybe this year I have a pretty busy year, and I know that I'm going to need 10 terabytes worth of data to upload. So this year I can go ahead and I can get that 10 terabytes of data and upload all of my major projects. Next year, maybe I don't have quite as much going on. I only need 5 terabytes. So I can go and I can subscribe for that 5 terabytes for the year after and use that. But any of the original projects that I did in year 1 are still going to be up there stored for me. Okay, I only need to purchase the data that I'm going to use for uploading, processing, and downloading, okay, not for storage. Okay, so that's a quick kind of overview of Reality Cloud Studio. So let's get into how Reality Cloud Studio then actually works. Okay, so this is just a web browser. Right? So I'm in Google Chrome, and I'm in my web browser here, hxdr.app. That's the web address. And when I originally sign on, I'll land on this kind of landing page here. Okay, there's 2 parts to HXDR. We've got the content program, and then we've got Reality Cloud Studio. So the content program is going to allow me to pay for and download. It's mostly ground data at the moment. So if I don't have any ground data for anywhere in these kind of turquoise options here, so I just click on that. I can go into this content program, and I can go and I can choose an area, and I can download data from Leica, right? So here I've got 2D, I've got point clouds, I've got aerial imagery, I've got meshes, and all that is available again for download. There is a cost to it, but I can go and I can download all of that data. Okay. Great option if I need that data to start, and I can go in and get that. Where we're most interested though is Reality Cloud Studio. So on the right-hand side of the page here, I've got Reality Cloud Studio. It's going to show me any recent projects, and then I've got some more recent projects down here, and I can see all. So when I click on this, this is going to take me into Reality Cloud Studio. Right? So we'll just take some time here walking around and demo everything that's available here within Reality Cloud Studio. First one we're going to take a look at then, just down in the bottom left-hand corner where I've got my name, I've got my company information, I've got my profile, I've got any subscriptions and orders and billing, so I've got all that kind of really handy at my fingertips. And then underneath here as well, I've got my users. So this is where I'm going to come in and assign users to projects. If I click on the users, that is going to bring up this user page where all of the users are listed. So I've got the 3 of us here on the team. We've got titles, we've got the company that we work for, and we've got our role. We've also got when we last logged in as well. So again, I can add anybody I want. Okay, there's unlimited users. And then when I do add them, I can give them a role. Okay, so if I take a look at the roles here, and if I want to learn more about the roles, these are the 4 different roles that we can assign. Okay, a member has the fewest rights. Okay, they can collaborate within projects, they can invite members to projects, but that's about it. Okay, the only other thing they can do is get access to projects that they're invited to. Okay. So if I've got people that don't need access a lot of access to the point cloud. All they want to do is go in and take a look at it. Then I can assign them as member. They should be pretty happy with that. Okay, the next one up is employee. So they get all the same rights as the member, but they also can create projects. Okay. They've also got the option here to delete company account projects if they are the owner of it. So if they've created it, they can go in and delete it. Okay. And if they're invited or created the project, they can also go in and view those. They've got project access to those. Okay. The next one up is the maintainer. So again, the same as the employee, plus the ability to purchase content, edit billing and subscriptions, and invite company account members. Okay. They're limited to deleting, again, only if they have the owner, and project access, again, only to invited or created. And then you've got the top level, which are your admins. Okay, the admin can do everything. Everything that the maintainer can do, plus edit the company account details, delete the company account members, delete company account projects, and get into project access. Okay, so the admin people, they don't need specific access. Any projects that are created, they can go in and view them, delete them, whatever they want with them. Okay. So again, this is where we're going to go in and manage people's roles, what projects they can see, everything directly related to those users on this page here. If I move back here to the left-hand side, I've got my menu. So in here, it's telling me that I'm in Reality Cloud Studio and I can get directly to the projects. Okay, I can also go into the content program. Okay, I can explore content, I can purchase content, and then I've got this HXDR data flow. Okay, and I've got an option to download it. Data flow is an option for uploading your data into Reality Cloud Studio. Okay, so if I am working on the desktop side, right, I have my RTC, I've registered my project, I've taken it into Register 360, I've exported that LGSX file, and I want to get it into Reality Cloud Studio. Okay, the recommended workflow is to use HXDR data flow. Okay, HXDR data flow will, again, it lets me connect and it will allow me to place, create projects and then place them within my within my Reality Cloud Studio project file or project folders. So if I were to, right. So when you open up HXDR data flow, you get a web page that looks really similar to the project's web page. So if I come into the web page for projects, this is what I've got. Okay. In here, I've got all of my different projects. So I can see all of the different projects in here. I can see the project members that have been invited and who created it. So if there's only one project member in here, they created it, they haven't invited anybody else, I can still go in and see that because my role is an admin. Okay. It will tell me the number of assets. Okay. It will tell me the project size. It will tell me when it was created and when it was last modified. Okay. So this gives you a lot of information here just on the project. I can sort this by list. I can also sort this by tiled view. It's also going to show me if I want to organize it by owner, I can do that as well. So if we come into one of these projects, clicking on the project will then open up the actual project folder. So in this folder, I can see all the assets that are part of this project. So in here, I've got the assets. Okay, because this is just the one, it's got the LGSX file. Again, it's going to give me the type, the size, and who uploaded it. I've also got any scenes that have been created. Okay, I've also got any project members that have been added. I've got project details. Okay, and then I've got the category that it's part of. Okay, so if I don't have any categories, obviously it's not going to add that yet. So again, lots of different information for this individual project. If I were to take a look at the same type of information with something that's got more projects or more assets, okay, like this one down here, I can see in the assets here, I have a bunch of BLK to go files, as well as an auto registration result. So what kind of type, so as we're on here then, what file types can I use and be brought into Reality Cloud Studio? B2G files, which are the native scan files from the mobile scanners. Okay, whether you've got BLK to go Pulse, the ARC, okay, or the to fly. Those B2G files will go in as B2G files. Okay, so if I upload them from the iPad or if I grab the B2G files, I can upload those directly into Reality Cloud Studio. Okay, with these B2G files, I can then do an automatic registration in the cloud. Okay, and that's what this is. We've got that automatic registration result. I got the same type of information up here, again, for project members, details, scenes. This is just going to show me, again, more information here about the assets that are part of this project. Okay, it's similar with this one here. Okay, I have an LGSX file, and in this case, I've got an IFC file. Okay, so we've now got a model file stored as an IFC that we've added into Reality Cloud Studio as well. Okay, so this is going to allow me to view that point cloud with the IFC data as one. Okay. So let's go in and take a look at one of these projects then. Let's take a look at this Fahrenheit restaurant. Okay, if I were to click on the automatic registration result, okay, that's going to then go in and open my file for me. So we have a lot of different tools that we can use within Reality Cloud Studio. Okay. Down here at the bottom, I've got a navigation tool. Okay. In an LGSX file, I will get all my different scan locations that I can navigate with and click on. In the B2G file, obviously because it works a little bit different, I don't get those. But with the BLK to go, again, I can come in here and I can zoom around. I can take a look around the model. This is meshed. If I want to see the point cloud, I can click on the point cloud up top, and that will then allow me to take a look at the point cloud data. Okay. So taking a look again here, I've got the name of the restaurant or the scan. I can download. It's telling me how much is downloaded. At the top here, I can switch between my point cloud, okay, my mesh, and then if I click additional options, I've got comparison mode as well. So this allows me to display, if I have it over here, allows me to display the point cloud and the mesh at the same time. So if I want to compare the mesh and the point cloud, I can do that as well. Further over on the right, I've got a filter. Okay. So if I wanted to view the filter, I can set distance settings. Okay. Beside that, I've got some visualization settings where I can change the effects. Do I want to view this in hue intensity? Do I want to highlight it? Do I want to look at it in gray intensity? Underneath advanced, I've got some more options where I can change the contrast or the brightness or the saturation. I can change the point size. Okay, so I've got the default, or I can change the point size there. I could also go down again in underneath advanced, choose whether I've got adaptive point size and then set the scale. I can choose the outline. I can choose the background if I want a different background in there. I can choose the quality. Okay? The moment we've got high quality, we can go to ultra. We've got our memory settings in here, okay, which is going to tell me how much of the GPU is used. And again, I can go in and change that quality. I've got my cursor, and then I've got my units. Okay, so this unit of measurement is set to metric. If I wanted to change that, I can set that to imperial. Okay, so just under there, underneath the units. Okay. Beside that, I've got quick modes. So again, this is going to just change me really quickly between vivid, white, default. Okay, so a lot of different visualization options in there. I've also got some other options. Okay, so if I click on my menu here, that just gets me back into the menu where I've got the Reality Cloud Studio, the content program, and HDXR data flow. Below that, I've got artifacts. So in the artifacts, I've got point clouds, I've got meshing, and on some of the other ones, we've got another one. So if I have done the registration, this will tell me that I've got registration and I can register them together. If I want to mesh, I can click on here and I can create that mesh. Okay, let's just go out into a different one quickly. Okay. So I'm just switching gears here into a different model, and you can see in this one that this was an LGSX file. Okay, so this was registered in Register 360 and then brought into Reality Cloud Studio. My scan locations here in my map, I can click on them just as you would and navigate those scan locations. Okay, so I've got the mesh there, I've got the point cloud, I've got a panorama if I've created it, and I've got my dollhouse mesh. Okay, so with the mesh created, again, if I take a look at the artifacts, I've got a panoramic that I can create, I've got a mesh, and I've got the point cloud. Okay, and all of that data, the artifacts will tell me whether I've completed those or not. Okay. This is just completing, downloading. You can see as it does, the quality is getting a little bit better. It went from really big dots to much better dots now as we're going. Below this, I've got my limit boxes. So just like you have in CloudWorks or in Register 360, I can create limit boxes for my point cloud. Okay, so to create it, click on Add a Limit Box. Click on Add a Limit Box. That will give me my limit box here that then I can go and adjust. And then once I've adjusted it, I can save that limit box. So not only then can I go in and drag to adjust it, I've also got X, Y, and Z axes here that I can go in and I can drag as well. Okay, both sides of the box, I can go in, I can use these sliders to create and finalize my limit box here. When I'm happy with it, I can click a name, okay, and then I can click on save, and that will then save that limit box for me. I can do measurements. Okay, so again, add a measurement. I can take distance measurements, areas, or planars. Okay. I can take a look at geotags, add geotags. So if I want to go in and add a new geotag, I can go in and select it, select that point, and add a geotag. I've also got tours. So if I want to create a video tour, like a video walkthrough of my point cloud, I can click on the tour and I can go in and create that video walkthrough. So this is done by adjusting camera angles. Right? So if I click on add tour, right, I've got some templates, or I can just go through and click where I want. So if I adjust the angle, okay, capture that viewpoint, adjust it again, capture that viewpoint. Okay. That will then run through that as a tour, right? Just working from keyframe to keyframe. Speaking of the registration, there's two different file types and methods you can use for registration. Obviously, if you're using a BLK to go or anything else that creates that B2G file, I can upload those B2G files and allow Reality Cloud Studio to register the point cloud for me. Okay. The other option is to use any other file. So not necessarily any other file, but if I'm in my Field 360 app and I upload data from a BLK or an RTC, that data will upload as E57 files. And if I've got individual E57 files, I can again use those to register in the cloud. Okay, so those are the kind of the two file types that will register in the cloud, either your E57s or your B2G files. Okay. On the mesh, again, a lot of similar tools. I can go in and I can create any of these different tools here. So I can go in and I can create walkthroughs. I can set geotags. I can take measurements, again, directly from my mesh here. Okay. So again, it gives you a really good, this is the mesh, right? Really good outcome from the point cloud and from the mesh. Again, this was done with a RTC into a LGSX file and then imported into Reality Cloud Studio and meshed up here. Down at the bottom, I've got some navigation tools, so I can switch to a top-down view. I can reset the view, I can orbit, I can fly, and then I've got some navigation controls. Down here at the bottom is my play from when I was creating my my tour. So if I want to preview that, again, I can click on that and preview it and just see what my tour is looking like. Again, you can do it the smoothing per path per point, and this